Today's first story is posted by Mavemao. 6 dudes got 80 years of prison and a military base is wiped out and banned for ruining a family's life. So, me and my family have lived in this house for 17 years on a third world country that's known for being violent. It's been quite a pleasure since my mother is a figure of respect, so to speak. So, we don't have any kind of enemies or nothing similar. We were just a middle-class family, living it out. Before the tragedy, we lived just, my stepdad, bro and sis, mom, which was pregnant at the time, and I. This Saturday changed my life forever. As they were making the baby shower preps, Dad saw some intruders going into the neighbor's house, which he responded with a couple of gunshots to the ground, scaring the robbers out and making them run, and that was the end of that. However, this seems to caught the attention of 6 military soldiers that were passing by, which were very young, to verify all was okay. It is understandable, as it was their job. However, it seems that in the moment of the heat, they were in the influence of alcohol, making this whole situation more disturbing. Continuing the facts, my mother, which was there to tell them the facts, was told to lay down facing down the floor, as they, for some reason, thought it was a good idea to make a pregnant woman to go down to the floor. When my mom declined and stated the obvious, she was told to stop with the BS. They also wanted the dad's gun, which was legally operable and had the papers covering that it was legal. When they were told this facts, it seems that this shitheads didn't like that, shooting my mom in front of my dad, making this man go in fury as her wife, which had his son, was on the floor bleeding out. To make it all short, a handgun was no match for 6 assault rifles. My dad, rest in peace, you were an amazing man, died in the confrontation. Bro tried as well to fight back, which resulted in him getting shot, and I called the police, good man in blue, for they to take care of the situation. It was hell to wait 5 minutes of shooting. Neighbors were scared shitless. It seems that everything we had as a family just went to the drain. In the recovery process, my bro, the one in my mother's belly, died for being born prematurely, and for the next 5 months, everything was just sad. At this point in the story I had 12 years and I just was a crybaby. Mom was on the hospital and sis was too young to realize what happened. Big bro was out of the hospital first, claiming revenge on those who took their happiness. Mom afterwards got recovered physically, but not mentally. So as a family we thought that it was a good plan to make this murderers pay for their sins. Revenge time. So, after recovering of the brink of death, Mom first destroyed the image of the military on the whole country, making this a national-wide news, stating that the military of this country kills their own people, and afterwards the military heard the news about this. They wanted to stop Mom, which they could not, as they are so incompetent, that they tried to offer her just a public apology which was redacted by one of the sergeants of the base that covers the city I live in and literally a ducking coupon for $20. Mom was furious to know that this was the only they offered. Who could blame the woman? She had her life completely ruined. So, to make things equal, she sued the 6 military officers that took action that night, and to top all, she wanted for the guys to be judged as citizens and not military. The trial goes down after 2 months of this claim. This ducking guys, they admitted everything about the alcohol, the shooting, everything, and the fucking prosecution stated that all was in self-defense. Needless to say, our attorney was just relieved to get an easy trail in his hands, and the glare of my mom to the milita officers was so dense that you could cut it down with a ducking nail clipper. Jury found the guys guilty. They got 80 years of prison. We later hear that these guys were going to be sent down to a prison in which my uncle was as well. Not a good family member, but family at the end of the day. 2 weeks later, photos were sent to us of the milita officers, beaten down to pulp. Needless to say, uncle stated that this guys will be experiencing hell until he is out of there. So that is that. However, Mom was not happy. She wanted more. She wanted to take out the military out of the city, wipe down with them of the face of the earth. She placed down a petition, which was supported even by the mayor, to take out the military base of the city and also for her to get paid for the damage she went through, and after some legal mumbo-jumbo I was too young to understand, and other 3 long months, there was no trace of the military. They needed to get off the city ASAP. Media were a sting. The criminals of the area, which knew the situation as it was covered by national media, made a communicate for them to burn down the base if they don't leave the city, and basically, the people of that base were just begging at my mom to stop it all. Mom had none of it, and to put the nail on the coffin, the president came down to check on the situation on the base, and when the base reported all, which they had to do, as they were obligated, the president shut it down, firing all the idiots that were hires in the base and also putting charges to the leaders of this base as they found some illegal alliance with criminals, which it seems was the triggering of those wanting to burn the place down to ashes. Aftermath. At the end, we still live in the same house that was attacked all this 7 years, making our best effort. There's a special police now, that are nice to everyone and does not look down to people. Mom was seen as the walking miracle, and now, we are waiting to move out of this place and seek a future in another country. Hope this works for us. Mom wants to go to the States. It is a good place for Latinos. I heard it's a shit show. Though, if you make to the end of this post, can you recommend a place to move in the States? Sorry if there was a bad written place, at this point is a meme, however, sorry for my bad English. Thanks for reading. TLDR, you won't get physically hurt in rural PA, but the emotional and mental racism takes a toll. Here are some comments. I think this post belongs more on r/supernova revenge. Your mom absolutely decimate the military there. Being Latino, I would say the northern Midwest of the States. There are a lot of migrant workers that come up from the South and most people treat them like everyone else. But like most people have said, you will still find asshats. Edit, I should say that there are also Latino people that live here as well, so you'd fit right in. I have so much to say about racism. 0 ms. It depends on where you go. No one would hurt you for being the wrong color, but racism is definitely alive and well in rural area. Mostly it's just pure ignorance and accidentally racist statements, but some people can be malicious. By malicious, I mean mostly microaggressions, i.e. people giving you side eye, and guarding their purses. However, some people, like my in-laws unfortunately, still proudly display racist statues around their house and openly mock people of different races in private. Even fewer people will openly use racial slurs, but they still exist. My grandfather came to the US from Chihuahua, Mexico in the 30s. Him and my aunt's family live in conservative Florida and have been yelled at by strangers for having private conversations in Spanish. He speaks English very fluently, but he still has a heavy accent, and some people will quickly get frustrated with his speech. The day after Trump was elected, my cousins were openly mocked and bullied in their middle and high schools for being Mexican. And it's not just Mexico, many extreme conservative Republicans vie negatively. Recently there's been a lot of negative comments regarding refugees from many countries in Central and South America, including Honduras, Guatemala, Venezuela, Panama, and others. Cities in any state are very Latino-friendly and have more resources and hired interpreters for those that have trouble speaking English. More public places in cities are multilingual than public places in rural PA. Hey, if he state seems like a good idea but you're wondering if it's the wrong choice, Canada has space for you and your family. Just avoid Ontario right now. Doug Ford is fucking everything up here. Getting forward to today's second and final story by you/Eddie Babyable. So 35 people walk into a pub. Sadly, this isn't a setup for a joke. So this happened a couple of years back in a pub I was working at. I worked the bar at this pub, which was pretty popular, especially on sunny days, as we had a lot of outdoor seating and a pretty huge beer garden. Now the story takes place one exceptionally hot summer Sunday. For those of you who have the joy of not being all that familiar with our tea and crumpets society, I'll enlighten you as to why this is a pain for working in a pub. Firstly, the moment the sun blesses our sodden grey land with its presence, we British come out of our thatched caves to bask in its glow like the lizard people our royal family is. This subsequently also means everyone had the exact same though of, let's go have a pint at the pub and sit in the sun. Yay for bartending. The other noteworthy point here is that on Sunday, a roast is had. Beef, lamb, chicken, or pork with roasted potatoes, veggies, gravy and Yorkshire puddings. All of which is wonderful unless you have to spend 2 hours cooking it. With that out of the way, this particular Sunday we were full, and I mean full. Bar 4 or 5 people deep, the 100+ tables all double booked for turnover, and I found myself without a moment's respite between pouring drinks and telling people we were fully booked. During this manic rush, I spot a bit of a commotion outside and see a group of roughly 30 to 35 people, including screaming kids, walking through the courtyard, ignoring everyone, and into the beer garden. Once my colleague and I had thinned down the numbers at the bar substantially, I told him I was going to walk past to see what the huge group was doing. Anyone that's worked with real-life people of course know that people suck, hence why I just wanted to walk past and avoid interaction. Also, it's a pet peeve of mine when people just sit themselves down, ignoring all the staff and expecting us to accommodate them without even the courtesy of mentioning to someone that they're here. So I take a step past the threshold of the bar, always dangerous and that day a choice I regretted, and walk through the beer garden collecting empty glasses as I go. As I near the area the group has settled in, as far away from the building as possible I might add, I avoid eye contact at all costs. You're not going to come say hi, then I can't see you. Walking past the group, I am spotted by a very angry woman, the Alpha Karen if you will, snapping her fingers at me to try and get my attention, as I tried to get away. She stormed up to me and stared me dead in the face. Excuse me, we've been waiting here for the last 15 minutes and no one has come to give us menus. What the hell are you all doing? I'll admit I was momentarily in shock, as the group had to walk through the courtyard and must have seen the crowds of people and stressed waiters everywhere. I'm sorry madam, but I had no idea you were here. Did you speak with anyone to let us know? Then what I saw was a rage build just below her plasticized skin. Yes, I spoke with the redhead. No one that worked there was a redhead. Well anyway, I want some menus, we're starving. I looked past her and asked how many they were. We're 36 people, that's not a problem is it? She said without so much as a hint of understanding why this was ridiculous. Well yes actually, that's quite a lot for a walk-in, and as you probably saw on your way in, we're extremely busy. I'm afraid we have no tables available and we don't serve food in the beer garden. You'll have to try your luck at getting a table in the courtyard, but I can't imagine you'll be able to find enough seating for the 36 of you, and I simply can't hold tables for you, turning other guests away. The reality is that I could but simply didn't want to. She stared at me for a moment, then said, you don't serve food in the beer garden or you won't serve me food in the beer garden. No madam, the establishment does not serve food in the beer garden. Ugh. Fine, look, can we just have chips then? For the kids? They're starving. I thought about it for a moment, deciding if I was really willing to put up with this or if I should just say no and send them on their way. Against my better judgment I said okay, but they would have to sit in the courtyard once the tables were available, and asked roughly how many portions of chips they would be wanting. She replied 6, and I said that's probably fine, but she'll have to go inside to order. This did not sit well with her and she started to get very cross. On my way back in, I swung by the kitchen to let them know what's up and to expect 6 chip orders but not to rush them because the woman was an enormous pain. I get back to the bar and it's busy again, 3 to 4 people deep, so I immediately jump in and start pouring pints. A few minutes later I hear, oh for God's sake this is ridiculous, and immediately know who it is. This tiny angry woman pushes her way through the crowd and snaps her fingers at me to get my attention. I want to order my chips. And hurry it up, the kids are hungry. Okay, I'll put them on now. 6 portions, correct? No, 17. Sufficient to say I was bewildered. Madam, that's not what we discussed. I'll have to see if the kitchen can even do that, we're very busy. We'll go on then, run along to the kitchen, she barked. As I was about to, I hear, actually can you make it 35? Madam, I'll be honest with you, there's no way you'll get them all at once, it's simply too many for the fryer. It'll have to be in batches and it's going to take a while as there are more pressing orders ahead of you. You will also need to pay up front. I don't care, bring them one by one if you have to, as soon as one is ready bring it out. Bingo. I went and spoke to the chef explaining what was going on. Rude woman, many chips, one by one. He laughed and we decided to do exactly as she asked. Bring on the MC. So despite being very busy, as soon as one portion of chips was ready I took it out. One portion, only one. She was not pleased. What the hell is this? I said 35 portions, not one. As I explained to you inside, madam, 35 portions is simply far too many for our fryers to handle, and there is a substantial number of other orders ahead of you. I had to try very hard to hide my shit-eating grin at this point. But, what the hell do you expect me to do with this? Perhaps you could have 1 chip each per portion. And I swiftly turned and walked away. Following this, every 10 to 15 minutes I would take out one more and only one more portion of chips to the group. By about portion 12 they had been there several hours and were fed up. They tried to complain to the manager, but she was so rude and disrespectful to myself, my manager and other staff members that he dismissed her, stating that I had explained clearly to her that we were very busy and she herself, and told me to bring them out 1 portion at a time if need be. They left very angry and we had 23 portions of chips paid for that staff got to enjoy later on. TLDR, very rude woman with group of 35 expects us to feed them on a very hot busy Sunday when the pub is overflowing. Asks for 6 then 17 then 35 portions of chips. They come out 1 portion every 15 minutes until they eventually leave and we get to eat the 23 portions of chips they didn't wait for. Edit, spelling. Also, a few people have mentioned they feel bad for the rest of the group. Well, don't. I didn't mention it because it wasn't really relevant to the MC, but they were all pretty rude and finger snappy. For anyone worried about the starving kids, they got the first bowl of chips, covered most of the table in ketchup, smashed 3 or 4 chips into the table and left at least a 1/3 of the chips. I don't think they were as close to death as Alpha Karen tried to preach. Also, thanks for the awards, everyone. Here are some comments. I was at a popular seafood restaurant with some friends once, on Good Friday. The place was packed, with 45 to 60-minute wait time for normal-sized tables, 2 to 4 people. I was sitting by the hostess station when 2 women walked in. One turns to the other and says, "Do you think we'll be waiting long?" "We've got a lot of people," and the other woman said, "I think we'll be fine. How many other parties of 20 can be ahead of us?" And, of course, she got very angry when she was told that they would have a wait of over an hour. She didn't understand why the restaurant wouldn't wait until 4 or 5 tables emptied out so they could push them together, and let this woman and her large party skip ahead of all the people who had already been waiting. I give you full credit to not lose it at the finger snaps. When I'm at my stick behind the bar, finger snapping turns the snapper completely invisible. For long periods of time. And then I will calmly, slowly tell them to never snap for servers or barkeeps. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. Great story, should be posted in Tales from Your Server, they'll love this story there. God, this reminds me of the time working in a pub, when summer was over and the beer garden was closed with gates locked. But on a sunny day people would push the gates in. These were wooden gates and with enough force can be pushed enough for people to go through. As the garden was closed, we didn't think to check there and glasses would have sat for days on end. There were also some people who wanted to eat there claiming it was open. This was even during winter as well when the sun came out. Really pissed me off when customers don't have any respect for the pub they're visiting. This is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the like button and comment below. If you don't want to miss such videos, please don't forget to subscribe us.